here we are with Bad Idea Boys. Like, subscribe,
Do all the bullshit.
ringing bells. Check us out on Twitter at Bad Idea Boys. Think we decided we were going to talk about E3 game reveals today. Now, I didn't personally watch E3, but I did watch a little video to kind of get a breakdown of what was coming out, see maybe what was exciting me or sequels to games that I already knew. I know you watched a lot of it.
I got quite a bit of it down. Watching my own videos and watching the breakdown of Square Enix and Nintendo. I didn't catch all of the Nintendo, but I got most of it. Sadly, PlayStation wasn't there.
Yeah, they were kind of void, weren't they? A lot of Switch stuff, though.
Yeah,
Lot
lots
of
of
Switch
lots
stuff.
of Nintendo stuff, which is great.
Right. And I guess the first one that really caught my attention was Tales of Arise. I was a real big fan of the Tales series when I was younger. Tales of Symphonia was the first one that I played that came out for GameCube. Tales of Fantasia for Game Boy, and Tales of the Abyss for PlayStation 2, I think. I just haven't heard anything about any of the Tales games for a long time, and then I see this, and I was like, oh, hey, what's up? It's a JRPG, so I mean,
It's a niche group.
yeah, there's not a lot of us out there that really just love that game. I also saw the trailer for Gods and Monsters, which I thought looked kind of cool. It had a similar cinematic to Breath of the Wild.
Nice.
And like as they're panning in on this really Zelda-esque landscape, you kind of see like Medusa coming up out of one side, and then it pans up and there's this like young Spartan-looking chick standing there, and it kind of zooms in on her face, and shadow starts to form up, and then it pans from behind, and it's the fucking Nemean lion coming up over the mountain like Scar from Lion King. She's just standing there with the sword at her side. It's like, that'd be a good time to
Probably do something.
do something,
Give it a little shank.
I know you were talking about what was that game called? I didn't see like an Avengers game on the trailers,
Oh.
but I saw one that was like the group that worked for Thanos.
Yeah. There's gonna be an Avengers coming out made by Square Enix, which is a huge thing. But Square Enix is making an Avengers game where, again, it's the Avengers, but it's a whole different story than anything they've seen in comics or anything. It's their own story, their own portrayal. Tony Stark looks fucking bulky as shit. Like, he's like ripped. Like, his chest is massive. Steve Rogers, spoilers, dies. You could look it up. It shows you in the cinematic. The only character that looks anything like the MCU is fucking Bruce Banner. He looks damn near identical to Mark Ruffalo. It's kind of disappointing.
A little bit, but I don't think Mark Ruffalo was the worst actor in those movies, so
No, he wasn't.
there were far worse. I also saw, oh my god, I can't remember the name of it, but it was kind of like a Fortnite, or not a Fortnite, but kind of like an Overwatch, like a melee Overwatch, like Bleeding Blade or something like that.
Nice.
Like, you guys should look into that, because if it's, if the gameplay footage is similar to what it's actually like, it's probably going to take the slot of Overwatch. It looks very similar to it, but it's all melee combat based. The roller derby, is it Roller Champions? I think it was called. That one looks kind of fun to fuck around with too.
It's a roller derby game, though, right?
Right, yeah.
Square Enix brought out a bunch of Final Fantasy games actually.
Right.
This last E3. Lots of different ones. Most of them are remakes or remasters.
Yeah, I've noticed that they've been doing a lot of stuff like that. The one that I'm looking forward to is the remastering of 7.
Yeah.
Well, I think everyone is.
Right.
Because, well, if depending on your age range and where you sit in the gaming gaming universe, we all know Final Fantasy VII was the godchild, just the glory of.
I believe, although it hasn't sold more copies than certain other Final Fantasy games, I think it's still sitting at the top gross income of any Final Fantasy game.
It's 2 discs.
Nice.
So just like
what I was saying, they kind of went back to that old school.
Just
well, that's good. I mean, it had so much stuff going on in it, so much stuff that they had to separate it out to 2 discs.
Just like the old PlayStation 1 version. This will have 2 sections to the story.
Are they going to split it up to where you actually have to finish the first disc before it would actually boot and run the second one?
That I don't know, but...
Yeah, I don't know. I know in the first one, there were a lot of things that you could do on disc 1 that you could also finish on disc 2. But if you followed the storyline to a certain point, after Aeris died, they would force you to switch to disc 2. To finish out the rest of the story. But there were things that you couldn't do until disc 2, or that if you didn't get done in disc 1, you're fucked. Now, there were things like, if you followed too far in the storyline, there were things that you just weren't allowed to do anymore. I mean, I had a friend, so I own Final Fantasy VII on the PlayStation 1. I now own it on my Nintendo Switch, and for a long time I had it on my cell phone too. So I could play it pretty much anywhere that I wanted to. And I didn't buy it, I just, ROM'd it. And I had a friend ask me when I got excited about the remastering of 7, goes, how many copies of that game do you fucking need to own? It's like, all of them.
I mean...
I need every version of 7.
Why not?
Yeah.
But 7, like I said, is the glory child of Square Enix. What took Final Fantasy 1 through 6, and then 7 hit, and everyone lost their minds over it. Then from there, it's just the Final Fantasy series has just been success after success. Few hitches here and there, but for the most part, everyone's been pretty excited about all the Final Fantasy 7. Oh yeah, Final Fantasy 8 is getting remastered. So you get to see Squall in 3D.
Squall Leonhardt.
3D.
Which is why they called him Leon. And
yes.
Yeah, it's the first section of his last name.
Another thing that happened at E3, Square Enix. Kingdom Hearts 3 is getting a expansion.
Nice. I figured it was only a matter of time. I mean, with the way that it blew up and how excited people got about it, I mean, ride that gravy train, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Disney always trying to make them dollars.
Then they have another one that they showed where it's like a survival horror, but you're the monster. It's
I've actually
flat...
seen some information on that.
Yeah, that one looks really fun, and I can't remember what it was freaking called. It started with a C, I want to say.
Isn't it supposed to be like, maybe it could have been a different game that I watched the trailer on, but is that where like you don't really know you're the monster?
No, on this one,
you know?
You know.
Okay.
You're in like an underground facility and they're experimenting on you, and you're like this red blob of like, kind of like they made Carnage look.
Okay.
And you're like shooting around. They're after you with like flamethrowers, and it's all 2D like an old platform game.
Nice.
And you're like launching out little arms and like stabbing them or eating them. Looked pretty cool.
So the one thing that came from E3 that I didn't watch Xbox. I don't play Xbox. It didn't really interest me what they're doing with their shit. But the thing that did come from Xbox at E3 was Project Scarlet, which is their next Xbox series. It's their next. I'm pretty sure it's their software or their hardware. I can't remember which.
Yeah, I mean it's
one of the other,
it's one of them, but it could be the other. I mean, out of 2 options.
I don't remember if it's like their computing system.
Right. But I'm a big PlayStation fan, and in my opinion, Xbox has a lot of room where it can improve. Things that Sony just does better.
The problem with the thing with Project Scarlet is, there's rumors that Sony is going to be pairing with Xbox.
That's been in the works for a long time now.
Well, they've just announced it, that they're actually going through with it.
Gonna do it.
Sony has a lot
About
of
fucking
things.
time.
Game sharing, basically cross platforms.
That too, but Sony has a lot of things going for them. Lots of things going for them.
Age
Xbox,
is one of them.
Yes,
Success rate.
Xbox, it's getting there, but they're still young compared to Sony when it comes to
at
a
least-
video game platform.
At least the Xbox One didn't have the problems that
The original.
the other systems had. 'Cause it wasn't even the original; it was their second system,
The 360.
360, that was just fucking
dog.
garbage.
But like I said, Sony has a lot of things going for them. Xbox, because of the Project Scarlet and everything that's coming out for the next system, they decided it'd be better for us to work together, make systems that our community wants,
Right.
that they deserve,
The-
and they're gonna basically this next generation of PlayStation and Xbox are gonna be probably some of the most revolutionary systems we'll ever get, and they'll probably be some of the damn near PC level consoles
Well, like
when it comes to playing.
the upgrading on all of it is great. Personally, like I was talking about with the monster, the survival horror one, I think that graphics have kind of ran away with it. Like, there are people that I talk to that, won't play anything pre-PlayStation 2 because the graphics are garbage. And don't get me wrong, I mean, I really like how pretty things have been getting. But
I agree.
It makes for the
but
good
high
cinematics.
high computer systems, catching up with the PC and getting your cinematics and green screening, and like Call of Duty World War II did, where they used the actual actors who were voice acting the characters. They used their faces and things like that, so they could track the emotion and the movements better and everything like that. So it looked like a movie. That's great, but we can't forget like where gaming started.
I agree.
Like Richard and I with the two arcades that we unloaded today, the Centipede and a Miss Pac-Man. Like, we can't forget those were good games. They're classics for a reason. I mean, I like where everything's going, especially with Xbox doing their whole software hardware update and PlayStation pairing up with them and everything. But I think people have gotten too focused on that.
Yeah, well, that's why actually you see a lot of if you want to call them underground designers coming out.
Yeah.
But when they come out with a great game, if you actually step back and you look at the graphics that they're putting behind it, they're not putting a lot of time, and it's not really
Right.
high def graphics. It's old school 18, 16-bit style gameplay, side scroller beat 'em ups, and a lot of people
Or
in
like
their
Stardew
30s
Valley.
Yeah, I mean I'm 30 plus years old, and when I come across an old school game that's new, I'm just like, oh hell yeah, it's like a lot of guys my age, we want to see some of that old school gameplay come back.
And you mentioned Overwatch.
Right.
So, again, like I said, another player that was not in the game this year at E3 was Blizzard, because they had nothing really to show this year.
Well, I mean, they nailed it so hard with Overwatch. I feel like it's okay if they take a
Take a
little bit of a break.
But-
Work on something else phenomenal.
Which they are. So, they were making a StarCraft first-person shooter. It got cut. And they took all the development teams from that, and they're putting it into Overwatch 2.
Nice.
It's a lot of skeptics and a lot of people who talk about Overwatch, they don't think it's actually a new Overwatch game. They think it's an expansion, a PvE expansion.
Well, yeah, like,
And
the
they're
way that
going-
they do the constant updates with Overwatch, and they change the characters' weapon abilities and skills, and they've completely redone multiple characters over the years. Like, what is the point in putting out a second one unless you're attempting to add something to the story?
Which
But that can be
They
done
do with
through
the
different.
specs.
That's exactly
outlets.
what they're doing. They're dropping in an expansion. I believe personally, it's an expansion. There's going to be a PvE mode where they go through Overwatch lore, and they really expound on what what's created Overwatch over time. What in that universe, in
Yeah.
the universe itself, they're gonna explain the
Right.
story.
Well,
a lot
Which would be
more.
great because I mean, Overwatch was one of those games that they kind of told you a little bit.
But they don't give you a whole lot.
Yeah, there's a lot of empty spots, and every time they add a new character, they kind of paint in one of the missing spots. But
But then
a little more of the backstory develops.
and then but it opens up so many more questions.
Right,
when they do
right.
that.
it's like they fill in one little, black area over here, but then they put another massive black area over here.
Exactly. I think what's going to happen is they're going to put in it. It's going to be an expansion to Overwatch itself, a PvE story mode, where they're going to go from when the Omnic Crisis first started and when Overwatch was formed, how it was formed, going around meeting the actual, like, let's say you start as a soldier and
Right.
you have a mission to go recruit Reinhardt or Torbjorn or Symmetra or any of these characters coming up that are in the game. You're going to recruit them whether they turn you down or not. Kind of like you would do with what is it? The game you like?
Fire Emblem?
No, you have 3 of them.
Oh, Mass Effect.
Mass Effect. Kind of like
I have
Mass
4
Effect.
of them.
4 of them. But kind of like Mass Effect.
And I'm still mad at EA Sports for that. They can go fuck themselves.
You can go through and you make the decisions to how you react to the situation of trying to recruit them, but at the same time fighting through
EA
missions.
Games, my bad. EA Sports is just their sports aspect. EA Games are a bunch of fucking pieces of garbage.
Yeah.
I hate
But-
them.
Like I said, I think if that's how they play it out, that would be really cool. And it'd fill in a lot of the gray areas and black areas. We have questions in the lore. Like, who the fuck was that cybernetic character in the Ash short?
Oh, Bob?
No, the little set.
Oh, yeah, the one that McCree...
Yeah.
That was the
rescued.
McCree short.
No, it
wasn't
was Ash. It was Ash's release.
But it was focusing on
McCree.
McCree.
It was showing Ash and McCree is McCree short.
Right. Yeah, the one that looks kind of like Athena.
Yeah. Like what we thought Athena would look like.
Way back when we thought Athena was going to be the next character every time a new character came out.
We all hoped for it.
Every time they would announce that they were getting ready to drop a new character, this guy'd give me a phone call. It's going to be Athena this time.
No.
It never is.
And then it was
Never
Orisa.
is.
And then he's
Yeah.
like, no, it's going to be Athena this time.
No.
Never is.
I think the biggest letdown was when they did Doomfist.
But
We were all convinced. Like, they even
Well,
had
it's
me
time.
convinced. So this is what's happening. And then Doomfist. And I was like, what the fuck?
what I hope if they do something like this.
You do have to admit, though, I got the closest on accuracy to exactly who and what Brigitte was going to be.
Yeah, fair enough.
He sent me pictures and video and stuff that Blizzard had put out, and I looked at it, and I immediately told him what her weapon was going to be. And he's like, well, I'm not sure. And I was like, no. It's going to be like a flail that like has a chain on it. Sure enough.
Yeah.
I figured she was also going to be a support, which you kind of guessed too,
Yeah.
because we were overdue for one. But yeah, I was pretty proud about that.
What I'm hoping, if something like this happens, I kind of want to see Widow kill her husband.
Right.
Is that a little dark? But
Right.
I kind of want to see Widowmaker kill her husband. That's what eventually turned her to Talon. Was they gave her a mission to kill Gerard.
Find out that she didn't actually kill him.
Oh God, that would be. Everyone would be pissed.
Right.
They have to start calling her something else.
Yeah. But that didn't happen.
Why
at
is she
E3
purple?
Because she doesn't have a pulse.
It's creepy.
Dead.
They're keeping her alive. Her suit keeps her alive, basically. Keeps her blood circulating through her.
So she never comes out of her suit like the rest of the characters?
So she'll, all these
Sadly.
fanboys and shit, or what are they called, waifus, or whatever it is that
Yeah.
like jerk off to Widowmaker.
Otaku.
Yeah, you could never hook up with her. She
Yeah.
can't take her suit
Could be necrophilia.
off. It would be.
I don't know how she say it's alive, but I'm guessing.
Well,
it's-
there's fucking all kinds of weird shit in
Yeah.
Overwatch that doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah.
And they never try to touch down on the science behind it. Like, how is it that hitting somebody with that fucking mace of Brigitte's heals them?
That way you didn't think
No,
that
it,
hurt him?
it uses her ability.
Still, that'll make no sense.
No, it doesn't. But
Ha! There
Got
you
Benny
go.
nearby, and just knock the shit out of you. You're welcome.
fair enough. How does Doomfist glove when he fucking wrecks you into a wall and put shield on his ass?
Right.
He fucking just one shot into a wall, you're fucked. He has more health than you. You're like, fuck.
Yep. But the two big game releases that they had a booth set up for one of them at E3, so people could get a little test play, and they put out a video for the other one at E3, which speculation on what that video is has gone fucking wild.
Yeah.
But Legend of Zelda
Link's
Link's Awakening, which I'm super excited about. It's
So am I.
technically the third remake of the game because they put out Link's Awakening, then DX Director's Cut, and then they decided to do a complete remastering, which I like the graphics. I think they look cool. They're kind of Toy Story-ish or however you want to put it.
I like to call them the
Cartoonish.
the old Christmas special of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Right.
The claymation.
The claymation
Claymation.
style.
Yeah,
yes.
they are right along those lines, and it looks
good.
It looks
though.
like they took a game that
Gives-
clearly
makes Link look like his ears are like this freaking big, you know.
Clearly, it was a good game. It has mashup in it. It has, a bunch of characters from the other Legend of Zelda games in it that are under different names,
Well,
like
it
Link's
is-
uncle and
It
everything
is
like
the
that.
game that gave us a lot of what we see in Zelda games even
Right.
currently today. After that, you know.
So, I was figuring out something that happened on my phone. He figured out who he was talking about. He was talking about Midna, who was the princess of Twilight. Sorry, spoiler alert. It's an older game now. If you haven't beaten Twilight Princess, it's not really my problem.
At this point,
Really, no, it's old enough.
Yeah, it's old enough. It's like early 2000s or some shit like that.
Spoiler warnings doesn't really need apply.
Yeah, so basically
Isn't it like 10 years for spoiler warnings?
something like that. Yeah. I
so
know.
we're way past that. Fuck
We
it.
passed the statute of limitations.
Yeah.
But basically, she's the dark version of Princess Zelda.
I see.
She ruled over their country and everything, which is the same thing that they do in some of the newer games. The whole dark and light. It's always kind of been a looming trend in Legend of Zelda games. I mean, they do it in Link to the Past and in the remake of Link to the Past.
Might have to edit this next.
So, like, Breath of the Wild 2, at the end of it, you see Hyrule Castle, like, elevating, which is kind of neat. I mean, I still haven't finished Breath of the Wild yet, so I'm not...
Because you take your sweet ass time with every fucking Legend
Well,
of Zelda game.
well, I do, because I do them right.
Well, this one just frustrates the piss out of me.
Yeah, it really does. It really fucking does. They completely kicked the standard of Legend of Zelda out from underneath it, so it's not like any of the previous ones ever, which...
Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Yes.
It's yes and no.
It's both. It's nice to see the new...
It's not Skyward Sword by no means.
Jesus Christ. That game always gets brought up. Everybody... I've heard so much about how amazing it was.
You
I
know,
played
it's
Skyward
a-
Sword
it's
for
a-
about
so-
3 hours.
It's a good game.
And it wasn't that great.
If you can get past all the fucking tutorials and all the fucking talking and bullshit that goes on and that keeps interrupting the game.
Yeah, like Twilight Princess.
Yeah.
So, I don't know much about Legends of Zelda. As much as to dismay. The last Zelda game I ever played was the gold
Cartridge.
cartridge.
NES.
Yeah.
That was the.
They made gold cartridges
Yeah.
of both of them.
Well,
But
they did
that's
silver and then they did gold.
Right.
That's the last one I played, and that's when I was like 6.
You have access to them on the Switch.
Yeah, you can actually play both of them.
If you buy your online, your Nintendo Online, it gives you a fuckload of the classic games.
But that's the last one I played, like in depth.
Right.
I've
Fair
played
enough.
a little bit of Ocarina of Time. I've played a little bit of Majora's Mask.
Ocarina of Time is totally worth it. Majora's Mask was. Wind Waker, fuck all the haters. It was a good game.
I actually liked it. It was the first one that really brought me back to the joy
Right,
of
you
Zelda.
missed entire like 3 entire installments on platform and like 4 installments on system, and then Wind Waker hit and he hits the ground fucking running, which is great. I mean, got him back into it. Honestly, with Breath of the Wild, I got stuck on Stardew Valley, and I've been just
hammering it out.
hammering that game. I'm enjoying it. I didn't think I would like it. I did like the old Harvest Moons, but
That's why I bought the game for PS4.
which
originally.
I now have Stardew Valley for PS4.
Nice.
Well, like we said in the previous video, he buys a game, and I'm like, ooh, I'm gonna get another game.
I honestly think though the deal we made with that one there is I would probably play it more on the Switch at this point.
Right. Which
Plus it's co-op.
that's
to
something
an
we should have done
extent.
today. So we should
Yeah.
have swung by Walmart and picked up a card.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
Yeah, they have a co-op local and online
Nice.
to play Stardew Valley.
So
Yeah, so that's great. But with the Breath of the Wild 2, there were a few mechanics because it was a new game. It was a new take on everything, and like I heard one YouTuber say, it appears like they're just building the second game off of the same
Yeah.
map.
the map, the layout of
It
the
looks very
graphics
similar if
and
it's
the
not
map.
exactly the same.
Yeah.
I mean,
Maybe slight variation, but not much.
Well, like
So-
new villages probably springing up, whatever.
which that would also explain why such a short period of time after the last one came out, which took so much time to develop.
You did.
This
um,
one is so quick.
This one fired so quick, like it's under
Less than-
development, and
what
they
is
already
it,
had
like less than
cinematic
a
of
couple
it.
Of years?
Yeah,
It's
I
been
want to
2
say
years.
it's yeah.
Well, it was originally Breath of the Wild was originally on the Wii U, and then
Yeah.
it got like really blown up on when the Switch came out. Everybody
No.
ran.
It was the throw in for the Switch when it first came out.
Was
No,
it?
but that's not the point. Well, yes,
Was
it
it-
was. It was a
was it
giveaway. It
available
was like a
on-
bundle at one point, I think.
Was
but
it available on the Wii U?
yes, it was originally.
He
out
owns a
on the
Wii U. I don't.
I never played it on the Wii U because Skyward Sword got such a bad rap that I kind of just overlooked it and just was like, and I hate the fucking Wii U. It's nothing more.
Yeah, he's right because my buddy Mike
Yeah.
used to talk to me about it. But I mean, they did the same thing with it that they did with Twilight Princess. They promised that it would be out at a certain time, and then it wasn't. And then they pushed the release date back, and then pushed the release date back. I mean, Twilight Princess got planned for release so many times. I pre-ordered that game 2 separate times.
Well, so did Breath of the Wild. They got pushed back and pushed back. They initially had a release date when they first announced it by like 2015.
yeah.
and
it
was,
finally came out in 2018.
Yeah, and that's
Um,
about the time the Wii U really started.
Was it
to
2018 or was
tank.
it late 2017?
It was 18. I'm
I want to
pretty
say
sure.
18, because I watched a video on what people think about Breath of the Wild 2. I'm glad that Nintendo just said under development. They didn't put a release date on it because
It just pissed a lot of people off.
right. Was it? Oh, there's a quote from Shigeru Miyamoto. A good game may take a long time, but it'll be worth waiting. But a bad game will always be a bad game.
Actually,
Yeah.
initially they March 3rd, 2017.
Okay.
Did they?
Yeah. Like I said, I overlooked it because I
Yeah,
had it.
and he was right. It was a Wii U game first.
Yeah. I actually was so disappointed in Skyward Sword. And
Is that when it was released, or
The initial release of it.
yeah? So that's like when it actually came out, but when they said it was going to come out was like 2015,
Yeah,
2015, and they pushed it back.
they pushed it 2
I
years.
thought it was 2018 that it came out, but I guess it was 17.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was only a 2-year push, which is substantially less than Twilight Princess experienced. Twilight Princess was
Substantially-
something like a 5 or 6 year.
Have you seen the fucking pushback for fucking Final Fantasy VII remake? Jesus.
Right,
They
right.
kept offering, and
No,
then it
I've
just
been
wasn't happening.
so. I don't know if it was just rumor, back then, or if they had actually said that they were going to do it and then they just like
Didn't.
dropped the project or continued to push back. But back when the PSP
Yeah.
was
Popular.
the game, PlayStation 3 hadn't come out yet. They said that they were going to do a Final Fantasy VII remastered on PSP, and then never did. Like, years went by that we didn't hear about it, and then all of a sudden it remerges around the time the Switch came out. Probably because the Switch had 7 coming out on it, and people lost their minds because 7 is one of the best ones that came out. I mean, a lot of people will criticize that. Big Final Fantasy fans will say that 7's just like the fan service one, or 7's just whatever, but the numbers don't lie, so fuck
Yeah.
off, haters. Eat a dick.
Want to make one last subject?
Sure.
Well, it didn't necessarily happen at E3. It happened right before E3, and it's the new Pokemon game.
Oh, yeah.
It's Sword and Shield. They've announced it a while back.
They did have
but,
a booth to play it at
yeah,
E3.
You were able to play the second gym, I think it is. The first gym's a grass gym. I think the second gym's a water gym. And you were able to play through the water gym. And they gave you a list of Pokemon to play with. But the starters are gorgeous: grass, water, and fire.
Like usual. I saw, I watched a little bit, my buddy Josh, I think it was, the one who runs our Twitter feed, did,
Follow our Twitter, by the way.
yeah, follow us on Twitter. He did this, like, he was trying to watch a lot of it. He talked to me about the new Animal Crossing game that's coming out for it.
Yeah,
and stuff
everyone
like
lost
that.
their minds at that one too.
Yeah, I guess the woman who was doing the emceeing for that had like almost an emotional breakdown about the new Animal Crossing coming out.
Really
Which
lost her
Animal
mind.
Crossing kind of.
It was a big thing.
So when the first one came out, it was a unique game.
Yeah.
But everyone that's come out since,
It's been a repeat of the same
Yeah.
crap.
yeah,
with newer-
with broken
Yeah.
newer stuff.
Yeah.
Like the one for the 3DS, I
Yeah,
fucking
bought
loved
it.
for about 2 months, and then I put it down and never picked it up again.
I don't even play it anymore. I bought it, I wasted money on it, and then I was just like, it's not
But-
the same.
But, so a few of the new Pokemon that are coming out.
Oh, yeah, that's where I was going with it.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, like, I watched part of the introduction where they were just sitting down with the like 2 or 3 Japanese men that were the primary developers,
Yeah.
and the 2 American, or at least one of them was American. I don't know who the other one was, who had basically been working on the American version,
Yeah.
because it's probably gonna drop in Japan first, because
Yeah.
that's where these games are coming from. So I guess they get an
They
edge on
usually
us.
go 3 to
Slightly.
6 month early release.
And usually
before
some
we do.
extra neat, nifty stuff.
And the games actually, a lot of the Japanese release titles are usually.
We're over here just railroading Steven. He's been
Pretty
trying to
much.
get 1 point out for the
Go
last
ahead.
like 5 minutes.
Some of the new Pokemon coming out. They're bringing out a flying steel types like Skarmory, which is the crow or raven, whatever it is. It's Corviknight. He's supposed to be super bulky, so that'll be nice.
Right.
A lot like Skarmory, but so it's nice to get a new version of that,
Well, he was just a metal fucking turkey.
pretty much.
Gobble gobble, motherfuckers.
Then we're getting Glossifer, I think that's her name, and she's the new like early grass type. We're getting Wooloo, which everyone lost their shit with Wooloo because they think it's adorable. It's a little wool sheep thing. That's
Kind
just
of like
normal.
what is that? Amphi.
Marie,
Mary. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amphi's the
Ampharos.
Ampharos.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
it's a normal little sheep, which we're sure it'll have an evolution. They always do. It's kind of like
It'll
the
go from being
Raticate.
incredibly cute to just be like hideous like the panda.
Yeah.
Probably that Pangoro. Fuck
Yeah.
that thing's one of the worst Pokemon ever.
The little baby panda was just adorable, and I mean, even I found myself wanting one. And then I saw its evolution, and I was like, "Yep, never
Yeah,
gonna
no.
train it because you're not evolving."
Every stone.
Yep.
Then there's what was the other ones they showed off? What is it? Dreadnought, which is a rock water type. which they believe will evolve into a water steel type. So
Nice.
we'll have another water steel type in the mix.
Is there a water steel?
Yeah, Pimplups evolution. So fifth generation's final evolution was water steel.
Fair enough.
Then we got Eldergloss, which is Glossaphor's second evolution. It's very much a support Pokemon.
Nice. Not enough of those.
No, really, there isn't.
But those are only really useful in like multi-Pokemon battles, like
And then
double battles and shit.
at E3, when they had the panel so they could let people play the demo, they showed off 2 new Pokemon. One is it's an electric corgi. It's an electric corgi. And people are losing their shit over this. Real Pokemon fans.
So I swear to God, when you said that, I had the image of Einstein from Cowboy Bebop, the fucking corgi,
Yeah.
with just like batteries duct taped to it, had a little light bulb on its head, running around static electricitying people, just pop, ah, what the fuck?
And then the other one, I forget what it is, but it's basically an imp Pokemon. It's Dark Fairy,
Oh, nice.
which is never.
Yeah, no, that's a new.
That's a new one.
It's not a new type, but it's a new.
It's a new combination. Of the
Combination.
types.
Yeah, fairy is still pretty uncommon.
Yeah, but those are the 2 new that they showed at E3.
Very nice.
I'm pretty sure I'm missing a couple, but another few skim notes over these. When you're in the overworld in the wild, there are actually Pokemon roaming around, and you can see them.
That's pretty cool. You know, you really gotta tip your hat to the Pokemon franchise. A lot of people identify it with children, mostly because it is targeted at
Sure.
you know, it's a super family friendly game, is what it is.
Very.
But it's highly competitive too, and a lot of adults play it. A lot of adults are into it, mostly because
We grew up
when
with
we were children, we were the target demographic of Red, Blue, and Yellow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I remember my cousin's dad, who was a semi-truck driver, had, picked up a trailer.
You were almost 10. I was 6.
Right. He had picked up, like, a trailer or something, and when him and my cousin got into it, there was a Game Boy in it. That's how my cousin got his Game Boy, is they found it in, something that his dad was doing when he took him on one of his truck drives. Dominic. And so my cousin Dominic, I go over to his house, and he's playing this Game Boy. Now, I didn't have one. It was Game Boy Color. It was one of the atomic purple ones, the transparent.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And up until that point, I thought the only handheld game out was that giant, blocky-ass,
Gray Game Boy.
fucking gray Game Boy with, like, the different adaptations for, like, the magnifying glass and everything like that. You had, like, Wario Works and the old Mario games.
Hell,
and,
I still have a
and
few of those
Tetris, and
games.
that was about fucking it. I mean, there
The
wasn't.
Grinch Stole Christmas was one of them.
Nice.
I also have a
Yeah,
Toy Story
he's
game.
talked. You brought that up
Yeah.
in one of the previous videos, I believe.
Mhm.
But so I sit down, and he's like, "Here, give it a try," and so I start playing it. And he's like, "Well, I don't really care about it." 'Cause my cousin Dominic wasn't a real big gamer, never really was. I mean, the most fun we had with video games was Crash Bandicoot and Dukes of Hazzard.
Yeah.
Which, if I can get my hands on a copy of Dukes of Hazzard, that game, I wasn't really a car guy,
Yeah.
but that game gave me respect for the TV show. Like,
I
I
forgot
fucking
one.
loved that game for the PlayStation 1. Oh, it was so fucking awesome.
I forgot one more thing.
It was ahead of its time. But anyway, so trying to wrap that out, I get really easily distracted. So I sit down, I start playing it, and it just kind of clicked with me. After that, I wanted that game so bad. I remember doing chores, doing yard work, begging my parents. They didn't really want me to get it because, a lot of parents were like, they're monsters and stuff like that. And I came from kind of a religious household, so like we got to hear news about things like the Disney movies being devil worshipping and stuff like that. But my parents eventually did buy it for me. I fucking loved it. And then out comes Silver and Gold. I lost my shit over those games. I was starting to hit the age demographic where a lot of people consider that you should stop playing Pokemon when my favorites came out, which were Emerald, Ruby, and Sapphire.
I'm a
Yeah.
Gen 2er.
I'm a Gen 3. That was my favorite generation. I loved it. But you have to give it to them. We're going into what, Gen 7 now? 8. Generation 8. And they have managed to
Keep it alive.
without breaking what each previous game did, not tell the same story. It's always different. It's unique. All the systems get very minorly updated throughout each next generation. They're pretty decently quick released. I mean, not super fast because we're only in 8 gen, and they came out in what, 1999, 1998.
Yeah.
So I mean, I was like 8 or 9.
Yeah.
And here I am, 29 years old, and this franchise is still going strong.
Very strong.
People all over the world, even people who don't like Pokemon, like my 50-some-year-old roommate, can still see Pikachu and knows what Pikachu is.
Yeah.
She knows it's a Pokemon. She got just as excited as this chud over seeing Detective Pikachu. Her and I are the ones who went and watched it together. These two still haven't seen it. I should just ruin the fucking movie for both of you right now. Just ruin it for everybody who watched on our channel. All like 7 subscribers. I'm just kidding. We're at like 16 or some shit like that.
Oh yeah.
But
making money now.
right? Oh, we're rolling in it, man. We get one more subscriber, and it's just gonna be pussy all around. Be driving Ferraris, getting laid on the street, drugs and hoes. It's gonna be amazing. One more subscriber, I'm telling you. But I mean, you really got to give it to them. They've done a great job. They create, wholesome games. They manage to do it without blood, excessive violence, no sexual content. I mean,
there are some
the people who
service.
Play them make the sexual content.
The deviant art.
Which I have to remind you,
games.
a lot of these, when you're playing the game and you're fighting, one of those schoolgirls. These are like 10 and 11-year-olds. Yeah. That's what Pokemon is based around. Is you turn 11 years old and you get a Pokemon and told to fucking wander the wild, the fucking countryside.
When you Google James from Team Rocket and you find him spread eagle pregnant with a dick in him, you're just kind of I don't want to see this anymore.
Yep. Oh my god.
You deviant motherfuckers that ruined my...
The Sonic the Hedgehog stuff has been just as fucking bad.
Gardevoir?
Gardevoir, yeah. I've come across some,
That's all Pokemon Rule 40, or 24, or 34 is. It's just fucking Gardevoir getting fucked in every other different position you can think of.
No, I mean, people have really taken...
Don't search that.
Please don't.
Don't.
Your phone will blow up. Your eyes will burn out of your head. Your parents will tell you that you were adopted.
But...
Everything you know and love in your world will come crashing down.
But
back to
the news of this. So, like I said, you can see Pokemon in the overworld. There are going to be giant raid battles where you take 4 of your friends, whether they're local or online, and you take them in and you capture giant ass fucking Pokemon.
That's pretty sweet.
And you get your own giant Pokemon, which is the new, niche thing for Pokemon. It's called Dynamaxing. And basically, for 3 turns, you make your Pokemon giant. They have different abilities while they're ginormous. And every gym leader will have 1 Dynamax Pokemon. So it's your job to decide when you're going to Dynamax that Pokemon and what to do with it. So it's going to be your strategy of how to use this ability that they're giving you.
Which, you watch any YouTube video on Pokemon or look up any kind of, strategy. People...
Competitive.
That shit blows up.
Yeah.
Until there's, a universally niche team where you can beat it if you work hard enough, but people will just... They'll figure out what the most powerful Pokemon in that generation are.
Yeah.
They'll make their team with it. And next thing you know, online battles will kind of niche into that. Kind of like you with that one fucking Pokemon from...
Yeah. It was an Arceus.
Well, no, not just the Arceus.
And it was Swampert.
Swampert, there we go.
I wrecked his whole team 8 times.
With just his Swampert. Yeah, he's way better at the game. See, I like the storyline. I don't really... The online battling and everything, I don't get into, but...
I got into the competitive scene for a little bit
The
there.
the hunting
Not-
the legendaries,
That
the
was
finishing the
fun.
story. I'm I've talked about it in previous videos. I like to go into legendary Pokemon fights with just a Pokeball, and it's kind of like how I test my prowess. I'm good at like the breeding. I'm good at catching and whatnot. So what I do is I just go out, find the most challenging instances, go into it bare bones like he does with every video game, and I catch my most powerful legendaries with a team of like 4 or 5 and a standard Pokeball.
Which was another thing released at the Nintendo Direct was the new legendaries. They're two wolves.
Right. I saw
Which,
them. I saw a picture of them. Anyways.
Some say it's Odin's hunting wolves, or some say it's the wolves of Ragnarok that chase the moon and the sun.
You know, I did find interesting about I can't remember what generation they were from, but do you remember the 2 frogs on the clouds from Wind Waker? There are 2 Pokemon that look very similar to them. One's green and one's red,
Huh.
and they're sitting on a cloud,
I did kind of like a
just like
Easter
those
egg.
2 are.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have. Well, I had a bunch of my Pokemon in the Pokemon Bank, and I let it run out, and I got
Pokebank.
yeah, I got told that if you let it run out, they're gone forever. So I'd have to restart a bunch of my games in order to get access to them again. But I've kind of moved away from Pokemon as I've gotten older. I still enjoy it. Like, I would think the last one that I did was when Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire came out. I jumped on those like nobody's business, and I grinded away at them. I liked the way that they did legendaries, but then I went and bought I bought Moon, I believe,
Yeah.
and
I have Sun.
I played it for a while, and I just
No offense, but Sun and Moon were just kind of blah for me. As someone who, like him, back in the day, had a Game Boy Color, I had Pokemon Yellow was my first. No, it was Pokemon Blue. And since that Pokemon Blue, I've fallen in love with this franchise and this game, and it's been so fun. I mean, I fell off around Black and White, but I have played Black and White.
believe Red was the first one I got, and Yellow was the second.
But falling in love with these, and then when Generation 7 hit, and
Didn't I give you Black?
yeah, uh, when Generation 7 hit, Generation 7 was great, and I had fun with the game, X and Y. But, and the remake of Omega, or Ruby and Sapphire were fun as well. But when Sun and Moon came out, I'm just kind of like, it did nothing for me. I didn't like. I got to the Elite Four. I'm just like, I don't feel like I need to do this anymore. But this next generation actually has me quite excited for some of the things that are coming out on it, and it actually makes me want to go out and get a Switch upon Smash and upon the Zelda game and all that. Like, it's making the Switch worth buying now.
Oh, the Switch totally is. I mean, like I was just saying earlier in this conversation, once you get your Switch and you buy the like Nintendo Online, you gain access to the first 2 Legend of Zeldas, both like a special edition and the standard.
Yeah.
So they have little tweaks, Ghosts and Ghouls. I think Mario 3.
Well, you get 1, 2, and 3. I believe.
Do you get 1, 2, and
Yeah.
3? I don't really play Mario. 3 was the only one I was any really good at, and I wasn't very good at it. But all kinds of like games that I remember playing as a little kid, games that I'd never even heard of before. Good stuff.
But I have one more bit of news, I guess. If you haven't watched E3 or watched the Pokemon Direct or anything, Banjo Kazooie's coming to Smash.
Yeah. Banjo.
Yeah, I know about that.
Yeah.
So is the hero
The hero.
from Dragon Quest.
Yeah.
And my buddy Josh, he for a long time up until the Switch version, and it's just a matter of time. But right now I'm standing as the prominent smasher. for a moment.
I always enjoyed Rockstar, or not Rockstar games, but what is it? Naughty Dog games.
Yeah, Naughty Dog.
So seeing Banjo Kazooie
Right.
in fucking
Smash.
is
That-
fucking awesome.
That's gonna be interesting. When it drops, I bought the player pack or whatever not that long ago, so I'll be getting the new characters as they come out. But yeah, so Josh is going to use his first real swordsman when the Dragon Quest hero drops. He plans on working as hard as he can until that is his primary character. So it's going to be interesting. It's going to be his new swordsman character. I mean, Cloud he always played as, but it doesn't really count. But here he is going to be dropping in as a new swordsman and trying to... Yeah, gravity's a thing, dude. Trying to...
Too fat.
Trying to, climb to the top as
Fuck
the
that.
Dragon Quest hero.
I can see Josh being pretty good with it. But there's
imagine.
like 8 of them.
Right, I'm not sure how they're going to do that dynamic.
It's going to kind of be like Pokemon Trainer. It's going to be in and out.
Really?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what they implied in the video,
And
but
all of them have a little bit of a niche.
mildly different powers
Yeah.
and whatnot. Yeah, they kind of... The way that they showed it, it implied a lot, but it was kind of hard to tell what exactly they were
Yeah.
going for.
But it seems kind of like the Pokemon Trainers concept, but it's just going to be Dragon Age characters coming in and out.
I'm pretty psyched about Banjo-Kazooie. I never got super into that franchise,
Neither did
but
I. But
it was cool.
I'm a big Naughty Dog fan, so seeing Banjo Kazooie, it's just opening doors for you know who.
Right.
Whether it's Spyro or Crash, it's
I wouldn't mind seeing Spyro.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mind
think
either.
that'd be kind of
The remastered Spyro is supposed to be really
I
good.
can see him playing a lot like Ridley,
Right.
expanding them wings and smacking them.
Yeah, they could do Spyro pretty easily.
They can do Crash too, but I think that's a beaten horse at the moment.
Right. Well, especially with Banjo-Kazooie coming out, I mean, they already have, like, Banjo-Kazooie and Crash Bandicoot weren't that different.
But there's another game that's coming out, and it's called Cyberpunk 2077.
Okay.
Yep.
One of the characters in it is voiced and played by Keanu Reeves. He is
Right.
now a video game
Yep.
well-known character.
It
He could
looks
be
like
in
him.
Smash.
Looks like him, too.
Nice.
He could be in Smash. We'd have Keanu Reeves
Yeah,
in
it's
Smash.
Keanu Reeves coming out in video gaming. And then they have that pistol whip, which they basically reference to John Wick repeatedly.
Yeah, they constantly are.
I mean, Cyberpunk looked pretty alright.
I'm kind of off topic, but
Right.
they want to make him Adam Warlock.
I don't know.
Wait, what?
They want to make Keanu Reeves Adam Warlock.
Oh, really?
We're off topic.
Anyways, we gotta wrap it up.
But
Yep, so,
that was our E3 breakdown.
you know,
Sum up. A little bit of Pokemon Direct in there.
The only ones I really give two shits about is the two Zeldas coming
Yeah.
out.
right.
Really?
I'm really a lot closer to where you are with that than I am to all the excitement bubbling up from this chud over here.
Well, I'm not gonna be rushing out to spend $60 on all these other games that are coming out.
I will
The only
for
three I think
remaster.
the three that those are going to be the three that I would
Right.
rush out and blow the money right away to get is Final Fantasy VII and Link's
Right.
Awakening and Breath of the Wild 2.
You know, for fucking damn straight, I'm gonna be hitting 7 remastered
I am too.
at the second it drops. Like, I know waiting is usually more prudent, but I'm gonna hit that as quick as possible.
Yeah. Oh wait, find them on Craigslist for $10-20 cheaper.
I'll have already beaten the game like 3 times by then.
That's alright, I don't mind.
But anyways, that's our take on the E3 releases, our preferences, things like that. We're probably going to touch down on some of these games coming up. I mean, since we already did a video on them, as new information comes out, I'm sure Steven and I will talk about it a lot. Richard and I will probably talk about it a lot.
Oh yeah. As more trailers come out, we'll
More
be sending
information.
that shit back and forth.
Right? I mean, we also hang out every Saturday night usually, so it's only a matter of time. But like and subscribe.
Ring the bell.
Go fuck yourself.
Ring the bell for notifications or what the fuck ever. I mean,
Suck a dick.
I really don't give a fuck. Follow us on Twitter.
Don't give it hard to your old lady there.
Your old lady needs to be fucked like a man.
Right?
That's the quote for the day.
That's the quote for the day.
He's telling a story, and he's like, your old lady needs to be fucked like a man. And I turned and just kind of stared at him. What the fuck did you just say? Anyways, like and subscribe, ring that bell, follow us on Twitter,
Fuck yourself.
at Bad Idea Boys, or don't.
We don't give a fuck.
I mean, do it or go fuck yourself. That's it.
And then I'll try to at least get it on the...
So this is what we spent our day doing. I don't know how good that footage is, but Miss Pac-Man and a fucking centipede. The Miss Pac-Man wasn't too bad, but the centipede, we had a lot of fun with that.